Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're going to be watching an amount of episodes of Dungeon Meshi. We're excited to be back. After last week's antics, I guess you would call it. We did a taboo. The taboo was probably bad, but we're going to enjoy Farlan's presence in the time that she's here anyway. Let's put it that way. And yeah, I said an amount of episodes. I'm unsure how many I'm going to watch. It's Friday. I have lots and lots of plans this weekend that involve travel and organizing things and blah 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 blah. So if I can get away with doing one, if it's an episode where I'm pretty satisfied with analyzing this and calling it a day, then I may do just that. Just because, again, I want to get the video out on time. Last week's it was delayed a lot. I want to get it out by that Saturday night, and yeah, I need to travel starting tomorrow. So if I do a couple, then I'll be more editing, blah 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 blah. You get the gist. I'm gonna stop talking so I don't even have to edit this part, which is again part of my job, I guess. Anyway, YouTube comments, or comment, I guess I should say, from Heath. Again, if you're a patron, the YouTube comments are available to you if you want to tell me anything and everything about what you thought about the episodes this week and point me in the right direction. Anything you want to do, really. It's up to you. So I believe last week, Heath brought up a couple of things that were cut from episode 10, or a couple weeks ago now. You know what I'm talking about resurrections. I'm imagining this means resurrection in, I'm going to say, Portuguese, something like that. And the information was about keeping a certain amount of somebody's body in a certain spot and that allowing resurrection and it kind of breaking if you lose portions of the body. So the information isn't really missing. Episode 12 has Marcel pretty much giving the same info, so I didn't really get confused in that regard, but I just don't like the reveal of information. It's pretty clumsy. Like, episode 11 ends on a scene with a bit of gravitas, right? Of like Marcel holding up, no, it was Laios holding up Farlan's skull, and it's meant to be like, oh shit, I connect the information from the past to the now, and that means something to me, a little bit more than, nothing at all, because we explained the context after the fact, so it isn't as much of a reveal, I guess. A lot of anime-only viewers were just, like, happy that we found, like, the skull, and didn't understand that it's probably impossible to resurrect her now, and didn't understand that that was a problem. I picked up a lot in again, I had the information from the comments, but I picked up a lot in the framing of it, that it was meant to be something that was like a feel bad. And again, I didn't have like a whole week of waiting on the next episode, right? Which was beneficial as well. It didn't lead to me like speculating or talking about it much. I just kind of went on with the next one and then just did whatever, right? Yeah, in the manga with the reveal of information there, it becomes clearer that Farlan is not in any state for resurrection, thus, we lost. We came down here for no reason. Again, I'm not saying it's a huge deal. I probably agree with myself from 4 days ago here. When you mention it that way, the reveal of information is better in the manga, though the anime didn't negatively impact my experience at all. Like, I still thought it was really good, obviously, but I can see how in the manga it's a little bit better. Again, I've been a manga reader for various adaptations as well, and if you really like the manga, you kind of get caught up on the details, right? And certain things become very important to you. Certain things that the people making the anime maybe don't think are as important. So I definitely get where you're coming from, I guess. Speaking of awkward cuts, apparently there's a scene in the manga of Chilchuck and Laios discussing finances where they say that we could sell dragon parts for money, right? So they cut that piece, but they left a gag later in the episode with Chilchuck saying that it'd be a waste to cook the dragon if it could solve our finance problems. So, again, just, I've been on this side of the fence is what I want to say, right? But I am liking the manga stuff. If you guys could keep talking to me about, like, what's happening or what the differences between this and the manga are, that would be great. I think this got confirmed for a season 2, so I won't need to do the manga kind of catch up, if that makes any sense. So when I finish here, I'll just like wait for the new stuff, obviously, instead of just reading the manga by myself, which I do sometimes. So yeah, I am interested, because I'm not reading the manga, to see how it tells the story, I guess. And with that, I guess we'll jump out of the YouTube comments and jump over to those patrons to give them a shout out. Of course, you can go like a week ahead on Patreon if you want to. You can click the link in the description below, and there'll be new episodes up there for you if you're really craving that next one for whatever reason. I don't know, maybe it's a big episode or something. The world's your oyster. You can access that at your leisure. Apparently 39 of you have done just that, and I'll read these names out now, starting with Annie Gregg, Mickey Babbers, Trows++, Adley, Bobbin, Chobo Ribby, Domobot, Ed, Fleur Nightingale, Fruit, Funny Fat Guy, Gloriana Tenebrae, Gus N, Heath, Ika, Yanko Yavanen, Jacob R, Joran, Clem, Nosta, Lou, Mad Lad, Max, Mish, Pencil Sharp 333, Ramen Boy, Ron Lad B&K, Saint Lily, Sam1373, Skeleton, Surrogate Corpse, Victoria S, Without a Net, Zach, Binchy, Hans Peter, Kelvin Cawthorn, Marsh, and Aidan O'Brien. So thank you to all those people for giving me money on Patreon. I appreciate it, of course. And also, just like as a heads up, like I was thinking about this the other day. I think I mentioned it in Euphonium or something. I'm gonna be finishing Dungeon Meshi in, let's say, 6 weeks broadly, something like that. I'm finishing Hibike Euphonium in the next like 2 to 3, and then I'm finishing Utena in probably the next 4 to 5 as well. So there's going to be a lot of new stuff on the channel. I do polls for my stuff, so there'll be polls coming up, and you get double votes if you're a patron. So again, just make sure that we're accessing that at the time. Just thought I would keep mentioning it until it becomes relevant. So the show, Dungeon Meshi, what's going on at the moment? So we're on level 5. We've revived Farlan using the Dark Arts, which does not bode well. Again, in the animation there, it obviously looks like a bad thing that we're doing, but we spent a lot of time in the episode justifying the character motivations as to why they're doing this bad thing, which I thought was... I appreciated it anyway. So Farlan's back. Farlan seemingly has some extra power that she didn't have before, like magic is just like automatically activating or something. It's a little bit suspect. She's seen ghosts and shit in places where she shouldn't see ghosts. It seems like her magic is working without any like input from her. It's just like happening. So it's all well and good that she's back, but we had that stinger at the very end of episode 12 as well, that there is an elf after them. Now that elf is the same elf that was the Hand of the King in our little painting flashback stuff. So obviously elves live a long time, lived through the rise and the fall of the kingdom potentially as well, if that makes any sense, right? So the Golden Castle existed, it became the dungeon, the elf has been alive the entire time. This has led me to think about who that elf may be. Is that elf the mad magician in question? I have my doubts as to that. I think the elf's motivation is undying devotion to the king. Whoever the king is, we're undyingly devoted to that person, right? So if the mad magician was responsible for the kingdom falling and for the king ultimately dying, Deagle or something, if that was the case, then obviously you're against mad magician no matter what. You're also protecting the current king, if that makes any sense, by stopping people from killing the mad magician and becoming king. Does that make any sense? Maybe not. Listen, I had a look at the very first scene of the show again as well. Something, the king appears out of the ground, like when the dungeon first appeared, and said, hey, whoever kills Mad Magician gets the entire kingdom, and then he just kind of like turned to dust. I would imagine that king is also Delgal, whatever his name was, I forget. So I'm starting to put some pieces together there. From the small looks that we saw of him during the painting stuff, he seemed kind of aloof and not really up to the position yet. Again, that original king as well, when they were having like the banquet during the wedding, it seems like he got fucking murdered or something. Was it even a wedding? I don't know. It seemed like he got poisoned. I'm keeping a lot of this in mind now that, you know, this elf is back. A lot of this will become relevant again, so I'm trying to remind myself of as much as possible. But either way, we'll jump into episode 13, just a little bit more chill stuff. So the Discord's free, Discord. You can access that in the description below if you want to talk some Dungeon Meshi with me, or anything else for that matter. Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter and I'll follow you back. Subscribe, like the video. Let's jump into episode 13 of this amazing show. Rightio, I have episode 13 of Dungeon Meshi up there ready to go. 25 minutes and 23 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. Of course, mine has the Netflix stuff all over it, so it's probably not quite as long, but you know what I mean. Speaking of Netflix, I also have the Netflix subs. Should be the subtitle, not the dub title, of course. And yeah, there will be a picture-in-picture version in the description below for those that need it. So yeah, I'm just going to give this a 3, 2, 1 and jump right in. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. I forgot to mention during the intro as well, part of the reason why I would be okay with doing just the one today is because this is seemingly part 3 of Red Dragon, whatever that means. So maybe that means that, you know, this will have like some finale-esque qualities to it. I know that there's a second opening. I know that that opening is not playing right now. I was waiting with bated breath to see if it would. That indicates to me that this will be the last episode of a core, something to that effect, right? Like if it's called Red Dragon 3, it either implies that we're eating the red dragon again, or that it's involving the same stuff. And again, this Farland stuff is tenuous to say the least. I'm preparing myself for her getting torn away again relatively soon. But again, we'll see. I don't like to be pessimistic. Yeah, okay, so a lot of this opening has played out in some tangible way in the series. We haven't seen those elves yet, I don't think. So keeping an eye on it. But again, it could imply some future stuff. We just don't know. Hello, delicious in dungeon. Oh, bit of ham. Bit of processed meat. Okay, we're all snoozing. Platonically. Ah! What the fuck? What's going on? Okay. Okay. Like a zombie. Get off me. Remember what I said in the intro? What? What the fuck? What was all that about? How about your sister? Cast your eyes over to the other bed. Yeah. Dunno. She went out the window. Poor Marcel. Yeah, she's different like that. Ooh, no armor. Okay, what the fuck is happening? We're melting the dragon? Um... there is still danger afoot. There you go. We're starting to put it together, chat. Oh, hello. Yeah. Oh, okay, so you do remember. Pronouns interesting. Yeah, I mean, I put it together. Oh, okay. And then we're building up this. Interesting. Holy shit! Just got one hell of a backswing. No. I mean, I've got a bad feeling too. Laios just said who it was. Did you guys not listen? What? Oh, fuck. Little dragon friends. Well, it's ancient magic insofar as the elf is also ancient. Oh shit, now you gotta go too. I'm gonna override the spell with hitting it with my fucking staff. Okay, sure. It seems to work. This is sick. Chillshock's in over his head here. So sedgy. That's so funny. Oh, the ham is here. What the fuck? Ghost ham? Oh. Did you make... Yeah, you made the hole. Gotcha. Okay. Fallen, what's going on? Talk to me. The ghosts are protecting Fallen? Okay. That's interesting, of course. What? I'd prefer if you didn't. Yo, this is some crazy shit. What the fuck? Okay. I wonder what the new form will be. That shit's fucking mental. Did we go down another level too? I'm gonna eat the whole ass. Are we gonna be okay? It seems like we're trapped. There's some Star Wars shit. Yeah, I can't just magic it. Where's Laios? Oh, snapping the stuff's crazy too. I'm getting ready for the undercut. Oh. What the fuck? Quick, jump through the hole! Oh, Laios is still unconscious. Okay. Get your fat ass through there. Okay. Seems like a new axe for our boy, though. The ghosts are here. Yeah, we're recontextualizing the ghosts in a cool way, too. I'll talk about it in more detail later. Yeah, what's Chilchuck and Senshi supposed to do? Okay. Saved? Who the fuck? Oh, the orcs are here. That's a good image. Uh, oh, you're in the opening. I see. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Nice guess, Senshi. Do your eyes not work? Oh. It seems like we're on the same level still, because the orcs are here. Thoughts? Goo. Finally, goo. There's worse fates, I'll say it. You're up next, Marcel. Get excited. Okay. We succeeded in like mother bird, baby bird feeding Marcel. True. Yep. It's some red dragon shit. Well, and that's why he made us do it. Wait, you're a brocon? Alright, whatever. We're gonna not touch that. Interesting. Faint-hearted? Bro's trying to cut and run. Chilchuck's not cutting and running. A thief with a heart of gold. Well, yeah. It's not smart to talk shit at the moment. For multiple reasons. Yeah. Oh. Sure. What do you mean by safe? Is there other dudes here? Yeah. I would imagine took it with him. Mm-hmm. Look at the dogs. Um, yeah, it's a long story. We put it all on the line, basically. He put it all on the line. Interesting. Okay. So it's not out of self-preservation, but a little bit more guilt. It's a bit sad. As you should. Oh, don't forget the frog suit. There's a hole in the ground. She's good with magic. He's sundering like crazy. They still believe in life. I don't believe you deep down. Damn. There you go. She cut to the core of it. What? Oh, I need this thing actually. Oh, did it? Oh, that's funny. Oh, Among Us reference. Yeah. Or it slithered along. What has become of our good friend Farlan? What? Why are you two wrestling? I'm gonna go solo the fucking mad magician. Empathy? I don't mind the play, Chilchuck. We're not gonna solve anything from just chasing after Farlan right now. The seasoning's the most important part. Cute. Based orcs. Hell yeah. Maybe consult Marcel as well. Smart. Good decision. I thought we are framing it in a lot of the episode as like Chilchuck's gonna say like we should just like give up, which is like no, we're not. Let's not give up. But kind of going back up, like kind of supplying and going back down again. That's not a bad idea, especially with some more help. If you could get Namari, that'd be great. If you could get Shuro, that'd be great. If you could get any other person, that'd be great. I wouldn't say no. What was the other thing I was going to say? Yeah, it turns out I was right about a few things and kind of second guessed a couple of other things. So my initial prediction was like, that person there's the man magician. And that was right. And then I kind of rescinded on that at the last minute. So I kind of wish I just held my prediction. It would have been correct. And my prediction at the very start of today's video, which is like, I don't reckon Farlan's going to be around for a lot longer, was also correct. It's like, it just had that feel to it, right? It seems, I'm trying to put the pieces together. It seems like the dragon stuff we pulled into Farlan is the important part. And also talks to why the dragon was snooping around this area. The dragon seems important to whatever the mad magician wants to do. So, sure. I don't know. And now I've got a decision to make, and I think the show made it for me, basically. I think I'm just going to analyze this one and get out of here. That seemed big enough. There seems to be enough lore stuff that I can try to look into to, talk about some stuff. There'll be 2 next week. That kind of vibe. Let's just skedaddle out of here and do some analysis, shall we? So before we jump into the episode we just saw again and have a relook there, I wanted to jump to a couple of other episodes and talk about a few things. So here's the very first episode. For right now, we're going to just rewatch this first part, right? Or at least reread the dialogue. It all started in a small village. One day, a rumble in the ground caused a rift below the cemetery from which a single man appeared. He claimed to be the king of a once prosperous kingdom. He states that the once prosperous land continues to be held captive deep underground by the hands of a mad magician. Whomever defeats this magician, he offers everything his kingdom has. After he imparts these words, he turns to dust and vanishes. And then, yeah, from there, he turns to dust and vanishes. So, a few things. One, the mad magician now, elf boy, which is boy, by the way, I've been saying girl. Sorry. Excuse me on that one. Elf boy seemingly likes Delgal, right? King Delgal, everything's for him. I'm doing everything. I'm devoted to this one person, right? For whatever reason, that's the tact we're going with. Now, interestingly enough, it seems like whoever popped out here is in direct opposition to the mad magician. So this is where my confusion sprouted up from. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this Hand of the King type elf dude, I'm pretty sure he's pretty devoted to the king. Like, yeah. So I thought, hey, you can't be the mad magician because the king and the mad magician are at odds, right? So here's what I'm seeing. I think Delgal died or was surpassed or something happened, usurped, and this guy was the new king. And then you're like, fuck that, Delgal's still the king. And you took the dungeon down with you in a fit of rage, something, I gotta keep this away from everybody else, blah, 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 blah. Now it's the dungeon, right? It's also in an attempt to keep the dungeon away from, again, all the context we learned in like episode 10. So that land is got a claim from the dwarves, it's got a claim from the humans, it's got a claim from the elves. Seems like it's a hotly contested piece of land, and if you want to preserve that land for your king, it's best to take it underground. I think, yeah, whatever this first scene implies is, one, it's a different king that has popped out of the ground and told everybody the stuff about the mad magician, or Delgal has had a change of heart somewhere along the way, and the mad magician doesn't know that. The other interesting thing is that the resurrection spell, or the whatever exists in the dungeon, it only really exists when you're in the dungeon. That would maybe speak to a reason why whoever popped out of the ground here would vanish straight away and turn to dust. So, again, just a few things to consider there. And now, less from a lore perspective, this was episode 12. This was the last kind of time that Farlin and Laios had a little bit of a conversation, right? And you can tell in the tone. This is why I made the prediction that Farlin would be sticking around too long. You can kind of tell in the tone of this scene that it's almost a final goodbye again. A lot of oyasumi, and then this shot when Farlin walks into the room and sees everybody looking at her. There's a final goodbye tone to this. I don't know how to explain it, but there is. So, again, not a surprise. Again, like when the thing happened at the start of this episode, I'm like, this is on the cards. This was what I expected to happen. Obviously not in that exact way, but a wedge was going to be put between these characters for sure. And now back here, let's try to talk about like a bit more of an overall thing. Like, what is the dragon doing here? And what is happening to Farlin because of it, right? So, Mad Magician, strong. Cool. Mad Magician strong enough to command dragon? Potentially, right? I'm thinking almost the dragon is here as a deterrent for other people being here in general, right? Because this is the castle town, this is where people would have all the royalty and that would have hung out, you would imagine, something like that. Therefore, if you keep a dragon around here, then people are going to like stop looking so hard in this area, blah, 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 blah. We can protect it or something. I don't know. It's something like that, I think. Then dragon is defeated. All the dragon energy goes into Farlin, right? And then I still have the same amount of control over this dungeon creature, because technically it's a creature of the dungeon and it's under my control or something like that. Thus, I can now command Farlin. Thus, there's now a part where it's like, okay, Farlin's still in there, wants to break out, but obviously can't work against this magic. There's a kind of irony to it, right? The magic was the dark ancient magic was the stuff that revived her in the first place, but it's also the stuff that keeps her binded right now. It's the stuff that keeps her from resisting. She's just been imprisoned by the same thing, so Again, a little bit of irony there. We're also definitely doing the thing from last week that I said we may do, building up a contrast between the two elves either side of Farlan. Obviously, Marsil knowing Farlan from a very young age and pulling her one way. The Mad Magician knowing Farlan as a tool, a means to an end, pulling her the other way, right? So now internally being pulled in two different directions. I don't believe I have the capacity to tell you all the answers right now, because I don't think I'm meant to. But it's definitely interesting. It's got my mind ticking away, which is all that we really want. The only real meal of the episode is this ham that we see briefly, and then the ham is brought back to the dragon, kind of like it's drawing together its body parts again. I think the ham is a clue. The ham is a clue to what may be happening with Farlan. Because if, like, okay, this is made of the dragon, it's being drawn in towards the dragon, it's almost like it's under the magician's control. Thus, Farlan, also made of dragon, should also be under the magician's control. I think that's what we're trying to get at. As soon as you see Farlan's eyes open here, you know that shit ain't right. This is, again, we'll skip to when she's walking. Well, the musical cue starts up. It's like the choir, right? And it's the very similar choir vocal to the very start as well. A bit of a musical motif around the history of the dungeon and the fable and all that kind of stuff. She's also walking like a zombie, which I wanted to say as well. And seemingly here, the citizens of the castle, which we now learn that the ghosts are, right, go to grab her, but then she just kind of shrugs them off and they don't really follow her. So I think initially they're like, hey, what are you doing? Who are you? Blah, 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 blah. They touch her. Oh, okay, you're one of us. And then it's fine. And then we have the dialogue here from Elf Boy. What's with your form? There you are. Like, obviously, you know that you have all the control here still. I thought I assigned you the task of searching for His Majesty. There you go. Okay. So Delgal has disappeared? Searching for. Okay, but is it Delgal at the top who said that and is now vanished? Are you searching in vain for somebody that no longer exists? He did claim to be the king of a once prosperous kingdom. I don't know. We're trying to put it all together here, folks. I don't remember permitting you to take a break. From that point on, it bodes pretty poorly for our good friend Farlan. All this happens very, very quickly, too. In an ideal world, you would make episode 12 a two-parter. Like, just make it a double-length episode. I wouldn't have minded that last week, just going 11 through 13. I think that would have been preferable to what I'm doing now, just kind of splitting it over the two. Like, being happy, albeit with a little bit of caution last week, and now just being, like, full-on sad mode. I don't know, I guess people watching weekly would have had to do the same thing as well. A couple of things. Laios' sword has fallen over. That normally indicates that there was some kind of danger afoot. Maybe it picked up what was happening with Farlan as danger, and then kind of moved accordingly. And yeah, basically we notice that Farlan is missing, and we start to panic and need to run after her. There's also the element of the window being, like, 3 stories up, which is kind of crazy. Like, obviously there's some magic at play letting her survive said falls. And yeah, it all happens here very quickly. Laios runs out, the dragon is bubbling away, of course, and it seems like the magician's already doing some bullshit. We find Farlan hunched over on the ground in a pool of boiling blood, and the sword starts to chatter again. And it seems like we have a mind-flooded Farlan. She needs to find Lord Delgal, of course. Delgal, who's that? Then we have the elf in the background. He is everything that exists on this earth. Every building, gold coin, citizen, cattle, blood, flesh, even the grain of sand beneath your feet belongs to His Majesty, King Delgal. So, let's talk about philosophies. So much of the philosophy of the show has been almost nomadic, like, hey, let's, roam around, live with nature, take what we need, use every part of the buffalo, so to speak, all that kind of stuff, right? And then, of course, on the other side, and a pretty villainous character in the Mad Magician, we have bringing up the idea of monarchy, right? One person owns everything. Instead of egalitarian, utilitarian, we have one guy stands up the top and he owns everything, and what he says goes. Again, it's not a particularly astute observation, but what's the difference in that context between a king and a god? So, again, are you trying to play God by being king versus us, versus the Senshi philosophy of just kind of living in a humble way, doing what you can. Uh, hmm. Yeah, definitely what we're getting at politically in the show, I think. Which, hey, like, it's not exactly a controversial opinion to say fuck the monarchy, but, like, I think they're doing a pretty good job here of getting it across, at least a little bit subtly. So, like, kudos. I think overall we're building like a good set of philosophies, set of ideals that are going to like clash in the very end. I think, yeah, and continuing to emphasize these points as we continue through all the dungeon cooking kind of nonsense is just good. It's good writing. We also get a soft confirmation here that, again, this is the same elf from the paintings. You were skulking inside the paintings. I don't know how that works. So, did he time travel, or were you there in the paintings as well? Or does that alter history to the point where you just gain memories? So you're like, oh, this guy was now there. Anyway, it's a fantasy show. We don't need to think about logistics that hard. But hey, you've already got a like grudge against this guy because he basically stole stuff from the king. He was also there when the previous king got assassinated. So, like, does that make any sense? Huh. Laios did land on the guy's table. Anything in that? Did he accidentally poison the king? Has he already accidentally killed a monarch? That's kind of interesting. Who are you? What is your purpose? I also like the subtle aging here on the elf in question. Like, you can see them well older there as the king is older as well. Like, obviously not aging like a human would, but like aging enough for an elf. Like, you can tell there's at least a couple of years of aging there for them. So again, I'm calling you the mad magician, the lunatic magician, based off Laos's statement here, right? That this is the lunatic magician. Also, the orcs confirm such a thing later on. They think that that's the lunatic magician as well. Again, we don't have confirmation from the horse's mouth as yet, but believe what the characters say for now, I guess. As I talked about before, we're building up contrast between you and you. Like, pretty obviously, they're the two elves in the scene, both fighting over the same Farlan. Makes sense to me. And that, yeah, Farlan is mind flooded. She's also, like, super strong. Udasai fucking hit him in the chest, break his fucking ribs. I like how, yeah, both these characters here, Chilchuk and Laos there, Senshi there, were, like, super. There's a second pause there where they're just, like, stunned. They don't know what the fuck's happening. So it's like, what the fuck? Why did she hit him like that? Then we have Elf Boy here cracking out the book, saying some ancient magic. Marcel kind of understands what's going on here and realizes that it's pretty fucking bad. This incantation apparently summons little blood dragons, which is always good. As always, when you see a little bit of blood, you know things are getting serious, and we're using said blood in our own incantations now, making that staff grow even longer. You have to directly override the spell, you have to break out the ancient magic again. And yeah, like from here to like here in the episode is like pretty sick production wise. I don't want to pause on all of it, but yeah. Again, we're holding up that end of the bargain as well. I think the story, okay. I always thought the production was pretty good in this show. Like, pretty good. These past couple episodes have been another step up, of course, but I think the stories come on leaps and bounds from early. I'm like really intrigued into what's going on next, and I think again balancing that is what's going to make this like an all-timer. I think, like, if you have an awesome production like this and you're telling a pretty sick story. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Ranking of Kings. And again, I never watched the second season there. Was there a second season? There was something else going on. Just something that initially seemed really simple, but kind of expanded scope in a way that I found enjoyable. Also, another really killer production from Wit. So, again, they're in good company there. Yeah, this kind of stuff. Trademark Trigger. Love it. Love the, yeah, all the light flashes there. It's almost like you're getting drawn in by the lunacy as well, losing your mind whilst fighting against it. And the other characters are noticing it too. Well, so you're going kind of fucking crazy here. I do like, yeah, this element, kind of the title of it rolling along with it, and then into the dragon. It's just neat to see Ham rolling along the ground and, you know, being an integral part of a scene. There's a momentary pause in the action. We must remember that Senshi is carrying Laios as well, which is why I'm like, why isn't Laios awake? Because he's unconscious. There's a break in the action. Marcel says, hey, are you the maker of this dungeon? If so, I'd like to have a chat. We must remember your research, one of your major reasons for being here and that kind of shit. Obviously, you're being changed by yours truly over the course, but I think we're not so different, you and I. between Marcel and Elf Boy. I think there's a little bit in that. But ultimately, Elf Boy, I believe, opens this rift in the dungeon and throws them down into a little room. You'd have to imagine that you're responsible for moving all that concrete. So after we've dealt with those two, we're left with our good friend Farlan here, who's not in a good way. The ghosts seep in and stand between Farlan and the Mad Magician. However, you just walk right through. Again, they're seemingly on your side. They were gathering because the traitors were here, right? And of course, Farlan isn't a traitor, according to that, right? Or maybe this is a false equivalence because it doesn't seem like the ghosts are that aggro after the characters later in the episode, like the Orc and Chilchuck. I don't know. Maybe some of them are devoted to the king, other ones are just kind of chilling, like any other society, really. So again, I mean, I'm intrigued by this idea of like, oh, the king will return. Let's look for the king. The king is missing. Again, in kind of tandem with the first scene of the show. Like, are they just barking up the wrong tree entirely? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It's interesting though. Interesting as well as what happens to Farlan here. This form must be inconvenient for you. Let me give you a new one. Seems like she's getting like a big old fucking body, but I don't know how much we can take of like that one silhouette. And we're telling her, do what needs to be done as you command, hard cut. And then we're in the darkness with the other characters. It seems like we're implying later in the episode that she like slithered away. I wouldn't be surprised if she has some snake-like qualities going on. Again, taking some elements of what's around you in the dragon and not quite being able to make a dragon again, maybe making some kind of other creature. I don't know. We'll see as we continue. Hopefully she's not too fucked up. She was cute before. Don't know what happened. She may turn into a slug person. We're in the dark. We need to get our bearings, some of us more than others, before the walls start closing in. I said it was like Star Wars. I think whenever I see like two walls closing, and I always think Star Wars, which isn't probably the first place that trope was. It was probably from like 50s adventure serials, something like that. Anyway, not going to continue talking about it. I like Chilchuck here as the walls start to close in, asking Marcel to just magic us out of here. Bro, you gotta like know a spell. Like, I can't just like, and we're out of here. That's not how magic works. You idiot. We really think we're gonna die here. You'll see my reaction. I was like smiling or like just like I at no point thought that we were going to die here. There was always going to be a way out. I guess it's more of an important moment for Marcel instead of like an actual threat of her dying. It's more like, oh man, this is my lowest point after reuniting with my beloved. I'm now, going to be crushed like this and never found again. Die for real instead of just being resurrected. However, a random hole appears in the wall. I still don't quite know how that works. Like some ghosts grab at her. It was weird. And then we got to fucking kick Senchi's fat ass through the wall. Now, I had a theory that we would drop to whatever the next layer of the dungeon was, but to no avail, we did not do that. Instead, we're just kind of deeper on the 5th level in some places that the orcs are still hanging out. So there were some orcs that I believe got kicked out by the dragon. They got like spooked and started running upstairs. But then there was some orcs that stayed behind. I think that's the vibe I'm getting. Also, again, overall philosophy stuff in the show. We have these orcs. We have these again, this race of people just kind of looking for a place to live. And then whatever happens, we must find the king, whatever cost. And then we're kind of displacing these people that were just kind of living a happy life in the kind of shell of what was left over of the kingdom. And then we're kicking them out because we must find the king. There's definitely something in that as well, is what I want to say, right? I guess Chilchuck notices that axe there and is like, oh shit, orcs might be around here, or at least something pretty bad. We got to get out of here pretty quick. But everybody's fucked up. Laos is unconscious. Fucking Marcel is... She can't move. She can't even budge a finger. And then, yeah, just as we're saying we need to get out of here, some ghosts reappear. Again, we imply from the previous scene that they are after the traitors. So if these guys have been branded traitors, then the ghosts, or at least the ones that are faithful to the king, will be after them. However, then the ghosts just disappear. So it's like, what was the go with that? It seemed like they wanted to say something and then just kind of... Again, the implication is that the ghosts in the castle town haven't lost their minds like the ghosts elsewhere. So I guess they're just like normal people. At least kinda. I don't know, it's giving me like New Londo vibes. I want to play that Elden Ring shit so bad. Anyway, my mind went to somewhere else. Anyway, what was I saying? The ghosts in the earlier episodes, right, and how we've tied those to Farlan. That's been kind of interesting as well with the new revelations we have now. It's almost like some of this was predestined. It feels that way a little bit to me. I love this shot of Chilchuck as the orcs discover them as well. Just that kind of reaction image is pretty good. As well as this reaction image. Put this on Twitter. What anime opinion has you like this? Something like that. I don't know. Fucking some bullshit. Most of mine would have people like this, by the way, but anyway, we're not going to get into that. And then we see female orc. I believe you had a name. I'll grab it at some point. But we saw you in the opening, and I just kind of forgot about you. So, like, you're here. I don't know what to say. I recognized her when I saw her. Is my point. It's interesting that we call Senshi there a depths dweller. That's the name for dwarves, which imply that dwarves may be further down the line, as implied by the Lord of the Island earlier. Initially, we have Orc Girl here. She's pretty fucking brutal. She's gonna kill Marcel and feed Chilchuck to the dogs. However, Senshi to the rescue, your Chief Zon's sister. Thus, you know, I've come to help you. He sent us on a mission. That's why we're here. Please don't murder us. And then they all sniff him. Hey, you're the vegetable guy. You smelt different, but, you know, you're still the same guy. This is nice as well. It implies some more lore about orcs. Their eyesight isn't fantastic, and they mostly rely on noses. Again, kind of like moles. We mentioned moles earlier, too. Hence why the noses are so prominent in the designs, I guess. Particularly you, of course, with a very prominent nose and... You've got features of somebody that wouldn't have good eyesight, or some creature that wouldn't have good eyesight, right? Bat-like almost. Thus, it makes sense that they need to use their sense of smell or something else to recognize Senshi. So I forgot the previous thing with the other orcs. Apparently we promised them that we would go to their place and take out the red dragon and we wouldn't hurt anyone else or do any of that shit. That's why he told us the location, of course. So yes, we did fulfill our end of the bargain from that perspective. Thank you on behalf of the chief. As a result, you get slime. You get this orc concoction, which I guess earlier I said there was no other cooking in the episode. Of course there's other cooking. We have slime, of course. And to feed the unconscious, unmoving duo of the party, we're going to, like, mother bird, baby bird, that shit. I mean... There's worse fates. I'll say what I said during the reaction. There's worse fates. Poor Marcel, though. She's had a bad, it feels like it's been 20 minutes. She's had a bad 20 minutes. We start to talk a little bit more context now that the feeding is over. And we talk about the elf magician. You encountered him, so obviously the orcs know about his presence as well. But apparently they don't know a lot about him, only that he's been around long before they even settled there. It seems he's the one governing this dungeon. Whenever outsiders excessively meddle with the dungeon, he appears and fucks them up. He creates monsters at will, alters terrain, can kill any creature by simply flipping through his book. Get the book away from bro, he may be a little bit weaker. And yeah, Chilchuck again here figures that must be the lunatic magician. I'm beginning to think that that's just fact. That's who that is. And Chilchuck's like, oh fuck, that's bad. Let's get the fuck out of here. Obviously, he's really strong. I don't want to die. And that's what spurs on, I guess, his stuff through the rest of the episode. It becomes a little bit of a Chilchuck piece after this point. So it seems like the entire time the dragon was under the control of the man magician, right? So when it ate Farlan, it was just kind of doing dragon shit, obviously on a mission by the man magician, not exactly to do so. Maybe to do so, I don't know. But just kind of doing dragon shit. Then obviously we slay one of his creatures, he gets alerted, he shows up, and then wants to put shit all back together again, and has no problem about committing heresy to do so. In an interesting turn of events, it seems like you're also a Brocon, which is weird. Look at his jawline, oh my god. Yeah, he warned us not to deal with the dragon for basically this exact reason. So then he sent us to do it knowing this? Sure, means to an end, I guess. And then here we have Chilchuck's little arc, right? Okay, from there we need to make these two that are now currently unconscious, we need to make them give up at all costs. Remember, those two that are unconscious right now, Laios and Marcel, are the ones with the deepest emotional connection to Farlan and want to chase her wherever she goes and all that kind of shit, right? And I love Chilchuck this episode, right? His initial tact here is to use trickery and thievery and underhanded tactics and whatever else to get to the ultimate conclusion of preserving the life of his two friends, right? Again, I've said it before, he's a big old tsundere, right? He deeply cares about these people, but he can't admit it to himself, he can't admit it to others, and will use any other tactic possible to get what he eventually wants. So again, that classic thief with a heart of gold type archetype, but as a tsundere as well. I think it's a nice spin. I like it a lot. So again, the cowardice at play was never cowardice of running away. Running away is a good idea. The cowardness is him running away from his own feelings about it, right? And when he confronts them genuinely and has a heart-to-heart with our boy Laios, that's when he actually gets some results. You can see Senshi and, again, you have a name, Orc Chief, something. I believe it starts with E. Anyway, you can see them silently judging him here, right? You can also see it in the framing of Chilchuck here. Very meek, kind of a high angle shot, making him seem small as he goes for these cowardly tactics. And again, of course, the orcs don't like that. The stench of your spinelessness is gonna rub off on me. But Senshi stands up for him. He may be faint-hearted, but he's not a bad fellow. Again, saying what he means, you know what I mean? Like just, being forthright in that regard, being in touch with his emotions, and gets a result here for his friend. Maybe something you could learn from by the end of the episode. However, this journey will be, I guess, solo for Chilchuck. Well, not exactly solo. Senshi can't come along. He needs to protect the two corpses, of course. And just as like a favor to Senshi, we have Orc Lady taking him for a stroll. I really should grab a name. And a bit of an unlikely couple here that have a conversation here. I guess it's elucidating for both of them. They both learn things here. Chilchuck's really trying to justify his position. The last we saw Farland, she was at the knees of the Mad Magician. That seems pretty hopeless, but that still doesn't justify lying to your friends, apparently. Chilchuck's like, that's easy for somebody on the outside to say, and at that same point, we're haunted by a ghost, right? Maybe it smells the cowardice on him as well. And we explain the context there around the ghosts. They don't really hunt after people, right? Per se. They sometimes... Anyway, it's weird. Most of them are just chill. They're just kind of strolling around, especially on this level. But maybe when they're near the Mad Magician takes them under his control? Potentially. And yeah, we're using the ghost as somewhat of an escort here. The dogs don't seem to mind as well, which is good. Chilchuck casts his eyes down to the kind of street below, and we see where the dragon would have been. And there's no longer a dragon there, not even a skeleton, right? There's just a pool of blood. So our first instinct is, hey, they must have revived the dragon. No, the dog's on high alert, so the dragon's not around again. Or is it? Again, we'll talk about it. We imply here that the magician made it disappear or took it with him. Now, I'm imagining we're taking all of that dragon goo and we're making it into whatever new form Farland has. That's the way we've gotten rid of the dragon, I guess. We notice the traces of the explosion down below as well. We explained that somebody stupidly ignited the fuel bag, and we needed one of our friends to step in and save the day. Apparently that was a pretty amazing spell, but Chilchuck is like, no, that's not the point. She didn't know she could do it, it's weird, I'm scared, and then wants to walk away again. Cowardly. We could have all blown up and she could have looked a fool, but she didn't, right? And they all take risks like that all the time. The risks that I, Chilchuck, are adverse to, right? I'm always looking to save my bacon. You could even, again, imply some things about backstory here. Like, Chilchuck's always been a fuck you, got mine type personality, right? Then he meets some friends, he starts to catch feelings, and then, he needs to reconcile his lone wolf earlier persona with how he feels now. Again, all that tsundere frustration with himself is coming through here. Like, all of them are so amazing, all of them are so willing to put everything on the line, why can't I be that way? And then in the end of the episode puts everything on the line, at least emotionally. Again, as I'm talking about it, we're continuing to talk about another character that put everything on the line. Senshi, when taking out the dragon, he put his leg on the line. He let his leg get chomped off. He didn't care. He didn't care about the consequences there. He just went for it because that's what he wanted to do. Something that is so, I guess, anti what Chilchuck is about, right? And he can't compete with that. He feels inadequate, but also feels like they're the stupid ones. Again, complex set of emotions. It wasn't courage, it was instead a stupid gamble. It sends shivers down my spine. Like, I compare what they did there to what my other party members did who already left. Looking back, maybe they were the smarter ones to get out now. But you stayed around. So, again, like, you have more qualities like Laios and Marcel and all them than you do Namari and Shura, I think. But now we have Namari, who I guess is heavily implied to be rejoining the party. You would have to think so, right? If we're going back up to the surface. Like, she's having a bit of a change of heart there. And then we start to get to a little bit more to the point here. Maybe Chilchuck doesn't feel bad about what he did for his own sake personally, right? He doesn't feel like, oh fuck, I've got myself into this situation, now I'm going to die. He feels like, hey, like I backed Laios back in the day to do this impossible task. Maybe if I was one that walked away as well, he would have realized it was impossible. Maybe I was the straw that broke the camel's back there and feel some amount of guilt for what's happening now. We finally get to the room where Chilchuck's stuff is. We remember the meal that we shared that is now a distant memory. Oh, yeah, it's very obvious that we're doing all of these in tandem. So Farland stepped up and did defensive magic she's never done before, and that could have killed her. We had Laios doing his thing. It could have killed him, right, when he kind of killed the dragon. Just put it all on the line there, right? Similarly here, we have Marcel a couple of times in the past couple of episodes putting it all on the line as well. This one being the one we highlight, where she again, had to do taboo magic again and stood in the way of all these weird dragon dudes to protect us, right? Putting it all on the line. And the whole time we have Chilchuck every single time saying, like, this person was stupid for doing what they did. They could have died. Leading up, of course, to the very end of the episode where Chilchuck puts it all on the line in his own way. They're stupid idiots, every last one of them. They believe that if they try hard enough, they'll be rewarded. How am I supposed to reason with folks like that? Yeah, there's definitely stuff that's happened in your past, Chilchuck, that has informed I guess, the traits you exhibit now. Again, Chilchuck's going to default to what he always does. He's going to trick them. He's going to use some kind of rogue-type skill to convince his friends to get out of there. When, of course, the tack that works is him just being genuine. And then again, elf woman chick, she just hits the nail on the head. Be honest with yourself, you just don't want to see them dead. And if you tell them honestly that, you will succeed. This is a really fun scene as well, as we see that Laios' sword has kind of climbed up here, our good friend Kensuke, and then looking down at the sword, maybe you're the smartest of all of us, right? Like, you're the one that ended up running away. And then, yeah, we see the blood stain here. It's like a body's been dragged, or something has slithered away, something like that. Chilchuck finally makes it back to where the other two are, and Laios is awake, and of course he's like, she must be nearby, I gotta look for immediate redemption right this second. Again, he's not exactly good at, thinking things through all the time, our good friend Laios. And again, Chilchuck needs to explain stuff to him and convince him to not just put it all on the line again, because this time you might just be killed. And then we start our speech. He takes onus here. He stops Senshi from saying something else. He takes a stand. He takes the stage. And it's like, hey, I can't imagine how you're feeling, but we can't continue to search like this. One of us is going to end up kicking the bucket. Please be strong for now and head back above ground. I don't want to lose you guys. My feelings may not match the affection you have for your sister, but I've got 3 of you to lose. Please consider my opinion in all of this. Like, look at yourself. You're clearly fucked up. Not feeling great. Marcel's fucking dead in a ditch over there. It's time to reload again. His initial plan here is to go and inform the Lord of the Island, and we'll then naturally run into Tansu and Namari there. That would work, I think. Now that we've gotten here once, we can get back to this level relatively quickly again. Let's head back, Laios. And yeah, really teary confession here, and then we have Senshi coming in for the final punch. To tell you the truth, we're running short on seasoning and other ingredients. Again, chat room, this is a metaphor. The metaphor is we must go back, prepare, rest up, so we can try for Farland again, right? If we try for Farland now, we can't make her a meal that'll taste very good and make her feel better again, right? We've got to go back up there and prepare. That's what this is trying to say right here, right now. It also hits an emotional kind of sting there for Laios. Like, we can't do the best we can for Farland right now if we don't reload. Of course, bringing in the dungeon cooking element of the entire show, it's a you could call it cheesy, but I like the line. It's pretty cool. And yeah, even piling on the pressure here, we have Orc Lady. Again, really should grab a name for you. Where, hey, the Orcs are going to help you now. We've sent word to the brother that you've killed the Red Dragon. We know that you're on our side, I guess. So you won't have to trouble yourself with the Orcs going back the way through as well. We'll help you any way we can. Look, she looks so nice now. Hell yeah. And with that, we have Laios agreeing to head back up. Sorry for making you worry. It's obviously a hard decision for you, but you didn't hear any of it, which is making me question things. How are you going to feel about everything? That's our next worry, I think. And yeah, from there, that's where the episode ends, baby. So yeah, I mean, obviously another really strong episode. Really enjoyed that one here today. Talked a little bit more about it than the others. I think, again, as the end of a core there, which I'm imagining it is, and kind of introducing some interesting lore ideas and some overall ideas for the show again, I think it's pretty neat. Again, it implied again, and we threw in a lot of nice characterization for Chilchuck there as well. I really like that. He's probably the one that's been used the least out of our main cast, and I like him coming through here with a very tsundere, very heartfelt type scene right there at the end. I think it did wonders for his character. Put it that way. So next week, we'll be doing 2. And there'll be a new opening, and there'll be a new ending potentially as well. We will see. We're apparently going back up top. We're going to reload. I would imagine there may even be a time skip. So time no longer becomes an element of worry, because we're no longer worried about Farland getting digested. We still want to save her, obviously, and do that as soon as possible, but we can kind of chill a little bit more, at least a little bit. Again, we will see how this eventuates, but it'll be interesting when that ticking clock is taken away next week. But yeah, that'll be next week's job. Again, if you want to see those episodes right now and you're public, you can access the Patreon and see them. Don't forget to join the Discord, because it's always very fun to talk about Dungeon Meshi on there and whatever else. And yeah, recommendations for new shows as well, considering those polls are coming up. Subscribe, like the video, Twitter, comments, all the normal stuff. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next week for more. Thanks for watching here today, and cheerio. Ciao.